Welcome to Zoe Stories. Undercover as a woman. Now I can't leave the role. I never imagined that a simple favor would make me disappear into someone else's world forever. I had always been invisible. Not the quiet, mysterious type, but the kind of guy people forget exists unless they need something. At 20, my life was a collection of routines, classes, part-time job at a cafe, and evenings spent alone scrolling through social media while my roommates laughed somewhere in the distance. It was safe, boring, predictable, and I liked it that way. Then came Lila, my cousin's friend. Confident, daring, unnervingly beautiful. She didn't walk, she glided, the kind of presence that makes everyone else shrink. I'd met her once at a family gathering, but I barely registered her. Until that day. I should have known something was off when she cornered me outside my apartment, her smile too sharp, her eyes calculating. "Hey," she said casually, leaning on a railing, "I have a little project, and I need a model." I laughed nervously. I'm not really a model." Her eyes sparkled. "That's perfect. You'll be perfect. And don't worry, you won't regret it." That's the thing about her smile. It didn't promise kindness. It promised inevitability. I should have walked away. But curiosity, combined with that awkward urge to please, chained me in place. "What kind of project?" I asked. She tilted her head, studying me like a painter inspecting a blank canvas. "It's experimental. I need someone to really feel transformation. And you? You're quiet, unassuming, malleable." The word malleable stung. And yet, I felt a strange thrill. Not excitement, fear. Before I knew it, I was at her apartment, which was a mix of chic minimalism and bizarre art pieces. Mirrors everywhere. Too many mirrors. "Take off your shoes," she said softly, yet there was an edge I couldn't ignore. I obeyed. My bare feet touched the cold marble floor, and my chest tightened. I wasn't sure if it was nerves or instinctual submission. She handed me a bag. "Everything you need is here. Don't peek yet. Trust me." I didn't trust her. And yet, I wanted to. When I finally opened the bag, I froze. Inside were skirts, stockings, delicate blouses, and makeup I barely knew existed. A single thought surged through my mind. I can't do this. But Lila's presence behind me, quiet and patient, was suffocating. "You will," she said. Not a question. A statement. And that was the beginning. By the end of the night, I was staring into a full-length mirror that reflected a stranger. My hair was styled in soft curls, mascara darkened my lashes, and a pale pink blush made my cheekbones look impossibly sharp. The skirt she had chosen clung to my hips in a way that made me shiver, and not entirely from fear. I hated her. I hated myself. I hated that, somewhere deep inside, a small, shameful part of me liked it. She circled me, her gaze clinical. "Good. Very good. But this is just the start. Tomorrow we take it out. Public." Public. That word hit harder than anything. My heartbeat accelerated. Panic mixed with something else, something dangerous. Desire? Embarrassment? A strange, disorienting thrill. "Tomorrow, you leave behind who you are," she whispered, almost tenderly, "and become what you must be." I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. I wanted to vanish. But deep down, I knew one thing for certain. There was no turning back now. Every step I took in her shoes made me feel smaller, exposed, and dangerously alive. The next morning, sunlight slipped through the blinds and fell harshly on my face. I woke with a pounding headache and the memory of last night's reflection still burning in my mind. My body felt foreign. My thoughts were scattered, tangled between panic and a curious, horrifying excitement I didn't understand. A soft knock came at my door. "Time to wake up, pretty girl," Lila's voice sang from the hallway. The words should have made me furious, but instead, my stomach fluttered. I couldn't explain it. I dressed quickly, well, tried to. Every piece of clothing she had left me felt like armor and prison at the same time. The blouse was delicate, silky against my skin, the skirt tight, and impossibly short. When I tugged the stockings at my legs, I realized I was trembling, not from cold, but from shame. Lila was waiting in the living room, leaning casually against the counter with a cup of coffee. She smiled, sharp and knowing. "You look promising." I wanted to shrink, to hide somewhere, anywhere. But I couldn't. Something about her presence forced me upright, compliant. "Today," she said, stepping closer, "we go out. Public. And you, my dear, will learn what it truly means to be seen as a girl." My stomach turned. I can't," I stammered. Her hands lifted my chin, forcing me to meet her eyes. "You can and you will. Don't fight me. Fighting only makes it harder." We left the apartment, and every glance from strangers felt like a spotlight. My body moved differently. She had trained me the night before in walking gracefully, placing weight on my heels, swaying my hips. Now, every step was exaggerated. Every glance I caught of my reflection in shop windows a dagger to my self-image. People stared. Some whispered. I felt my face burn hotter than the sun above. I wanted to disappear, but Lila held my hand firmly. "Ignore them," she said softly, yet her grip was iron. "You are beautiful. You are this. Beautiful." The word felt like acid on my tongue. I didn't feel beautiful. I felt trapped, embarrassed, exposed. Yet, in some corner of my mind, a small voice, unwelcome, alien, wanted to believe her. By the time we reached the cafe down the street, my legs ached from heels, my makeup already threatening to smudge from nervous sweat. Lila guided me to a table near the window, then leaned close. "You see, everyone's eyes are on you, and you're thriving. Do you feel it?" I shook my head, but my body betrayed me. My heart raced, my breathing quickened, and a heat spread through my chest that had nothing to do with embarrassment. She smiled, almost cruelly. "Good. Confusion is part of the process. Resistance, too. Embrace it. This is how you'll change." Lunch passed in a haze of whispered directions, correction, and humiliation disguised as care. Lila made me sip tea like a lady, adjust my posture constantly, and speak softly whenever anyone passed. Each correction shredded a layer of my old self. A group of college girls at a nearby table noticed me. One whispered to another, and their eyes lingered on my legs, my hair, my makeup. My stomach twisted. I wanted to sink into the floor, melt, disappear, but Lila nudged me gently. "Don't hide," she said. "Own it. Let them see the new you. The real you." The rest of the afternoon was a blur of shops, mirrors, and controlled exercises. She picked out more outfits, applied lipstick for me, adjusted my hair endlessly. Every small motion was a lesson. How to fold my hands elegantly, how to tilt my head just so, how to speak with soft authority without sounding weak. By evening, I was exhausted, sore, humiliated, but also changed. I caught my reflection in a mall mirror, and for a brief, terrifying moment, I didn't recognize myself. The person staring back was slender, delicate, undeniably feminine. My old self was a ghost. I wanted to cry. I wanted to scream. I wanted to laugh at the absurdity of it all. But when Lila's eyes met mine in the reflection, I realized she didn't care about my confusion. She wanted obedience, transformation, control. "And tomorrow," she whispered as we walked back to the apartment, "we push further. The world will see you, and you will see yourself." The thought made my chest tighten. I was walking willingly, but every step pulled me further from who I had been. Somewhere deep inside, a small, frightening part of me wondered, do I even want to go back? Every command she gave was a thread tightening around the last shred of my old self. The morning light spilled across the apartment, but I barely noticed it. Sleep had abandoned me, replaced by an anxious dread that coiled in my chest. My body still ached from heels, my muscles stiff from constant adjustment to this strange, new femininity. I didn't know whether I was terrified or exhilarated. The line had blurred. Lila entered my room without knocking, as always. She was wearing a casual outfit that somehow screamed authority. "Up," she said, voice soft but insistent. "We have work to do." I obeyed. My old self would have protested, argued, delayed, hidden under blankets. But that me didn't exist anymore. At least, not entirely. She laid out a new set of clothes, a short floral dress, stockings with tiny lace details, and shoes that looked like traps disguised as elegance. Today, we go further. People will see you, and you will not falter. You will be polite, charming, feminine. You will smile. I swallowed. I can't do it, I whispered. Her eyes softened, only to sharpen again. Oh, yes, you can. You must. And you will. By the time we left the apartment, I was trembling, not just from nerves, but anticipation and confusion. Lila guided me like a teacher, hand at the small of my back, posture corrected at every step. We entered a crowded shopping street, and my heart nearly stopped. The people, the stares, the whispers, it was like walking through fire. Every eye felt like a spotlight. Every glance was a judgment. My face burned, my legs shook, and yet Lila held me firmly. Feel it, she whispered. This is the real lesson. The world sees her, not you. At a boutique, she forced me to try on lingerie over my clothes. I felt humiliated, trapped in my own body, and utterly powerless. She adjusted straps, tucked lace, and inspected me critically. You must learn to feel beautiful, even when embarrassed. Beauty is control. Humiliation is practice. I wanted to run. I wanted to collapse. But the mirror showed a stranger, a delicate, feminine figure, with wide eyes that seemed to plead for escape. Lila circled me, eyes gleaming.
You're learning, she said.
But tomorrow we test your courage further. After the boutique, she dragged me to a cafe near the park. Orders had to be soft, polite, feminine. Every slip, stammer, nervous glance was met with a correcting word, a gentle mock, or a look that cut deeper than any shout. By the time we left, my cheeks burned, my lips ached from forced smiles, and my body felt foreign. Then came the worst part, a familiar face. My classmate, Rami, spotted me from across the street. His jaw dropped, eyes wide. Is that you? My chest constricted. I wanted to disappear, to vanish into the crowd. But Lila's hand tightened on mine. Smile, she said, and the command was both tender and merciless. I forced a grin, high-pitched and unnatural, and Rami's expression twisted, confusion, disbelief, amusement. Wow, you look different. Different. The word hit harder than anything else. I wanted to cry, to scream, to explain, but Lila leaned in, whispering, Ignore him. You are no longer who you were. You are her. Own it. By evening, I was exhausted, emotionally drained, and physically sore. Yet somewhere deep, a part of me trembled, not with fear, but with a forbidden thrill. People had seen me. I had survived. And worse, I had enjoyed tiny fragments of it. Lila helped me out of the dress, inspected me like a sculptor, and whispered in my ear, Tomorrow, we cross the next line. You will be photographed. You will be admired. And you will want it. I didn't want it. I hated it. I feared it. But somewhere inside, I felt a spark, a dangerous, confusing, electric spark. Every glance in the mirror chipped away at who I once was, leaving someone else behind. I woke to the faint hum of the city outside, but my apartment felt smaller somehow, the walls closer, suffocating. Sleep had been restless. My dreams were haunted by shadows of myself, twisted versions wearing dresses I had never imagined. My body ached in places I didn't know could ache, but worse was the unease in my chest. My reflection had begun to feel like a stranger I could no longer ignore. Lila was already awake, sitting in front of her vanity as if she had been waiting for me for hours. Her gaze met mine in the mirror. Time, she said simply. That single word carried authority, promise, and threat all at once. She handed me a makeup brush and I almost dropped it. My fingers trembled, not from fear alone, but from anticipation and dread. Lila guided me through the motions meticulously. Foundation, blush, eyeliner, mascara. Each stroke reshaped my face, softened my jawline, lifted my cheekbones. The reflection staring back, was someone I didn't recognize, yet couldn't look away from. "You're beautiful," she whispered, brushing a stray curl behind my ear. The words were both a caress and a command.
Say it.
"Feel it." I swallowed hard, my voice caught in my throat. I'm beautiful," I croaked. Her lips curved into a small, cruel smile.
Good.
"You'll learn to believe it." Next came posture and walk. She had me practice slowly, deliberately, in heels that felt like tiny torture devices. Every step was a lesson in femininity, swaying hips, delicate hands, straight back, soft but confident voice. My legs ached, my toes screamed, but her eyes never left me. "You're stiff," she corrected. "Loosen. Let the world see the girl I've made." The hardest part came when she took me outside. The streets were crowded, full of strangers whose stares felt like knives. Every step was monitored. Every slip in voice, gesture, or balance met with a subtle correction, a whispered word, a touch on my back, a glance that burned into me. We passed a boutique, and she forced me to pause. Mirrors lined the walls inside. I froze. My reflection multiplied, hundreds of versions of me, all soft, delicate, undeniably feminine. My heart pounded. I wanted to run, to disappear, but her hand gripped mine firmly. "Look," she said softly, almost gently. "See yourself. Accept her. You are not the boy you were." I wanted to scream. I hated it. I wanted to cry. But the reflection didn't lie. The person staring back was undeniably me and undeniably her. Later, she introduced speech lessons. Soft, lilting tones, careful enunciation, subtle laughter. Every word I spoke was corrected, every expression observed. I stumbled, faltered, and my cheeks burned with shame. Yet with every correction, a tiny part of me began to obey, to mimic, to want to please. We stopped at a cafe. She made me order, smile, sit like a lady. People looked. Some stared openly, some whispered. Every glance made my stomach twist, my cheeks burn, my legs quiver. And yet, the warmth that spread through my chest when someone called me Miss was confusingly intoxicating. "You're learning," Lila whispered, her lips brushing my ear. "Soon, they won't see me. They'll only see you." By the time we returned to the apartment, my feet were raw, my muscles sore, my mind buzzing. I collapsed in front of the mirror, staring at the delicate, feminine figure that had replaced the boy I once was. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to cry. I wanted to run. But a small, dangerous part of me couldn't stop looking. The blush on my cheeks wasn't entirely from embarrassment. My lips tingled where lipstick lingered. My heart raced at the curve of my hips, the softness of my hands. Lila crouched beside me, her eyes piercing. "Tomorrow, we take the final step. Public recognition.
Praise. Desire.
And you will survive it or fall." The words left a taste of dread and thrill in my mouth. I was losing control. I was becoming someone else. And I didn't know if I wanted to stop. Every pair of eyes on me felt like a verdict, and I wasn't sure I wanted to survive it. The morning air was crisp, but it did nothing to calm the storm inside me. My chest felt tight, my hands clammy. Today, Lila said, was the ultimate test. Full public exposure. Not just the streets or a cafe. Today, she promised, the world would see me. I dressed in a tight, pastel dress, soft stockings, and the heels that had become instruments of both humiliation and transformation. Each motion felt mechanical, rehearsed, yet the mirror reflected someone alive, undeniably feminine, and utterly unrecognizable as me. Lila circled me, her gaze inspecting every detail. "You look perfect," she said, but her smile carried a dangerous edge. "Now, remember everything I taught you.
Walk. Speak.
Smile. And never, ever hesitate." The subway was crowded, and each passing glance felt like fire. I felt the familiar blush creeping across my cheeks. People stared, whispered, and I couldn't decide whether I wanted to run or bask in the attention. "Good," Lila whispered, hand at the small of my back. "Feel it. This is power." and fear. Learn both. A group of teenagers leaned against the wall, giggling as they noticed me. My heart pounded. One boy whispered loudly enough for me to hear, "Wow, she's hot." Something inside me twisted. Embarrassment, yes. Shame, yes. But also a strange, shocking surge of pride? Desire? I didn't understand it, and it terrified me. Lila's hand squeezed mine. "This is why we do it. The world sees her, not you. And you will learn to own it." We passed a beauty salon, and she forced me to stop. Inside, mirrors lined every wall, reflecting dozens of versions of me. I felt trapped, exposed, and vulnerable. Lila made me practice smiling at strangers, making conversation, sitting elegantly while people gawked. Every stumble, every nervous glance, was corrected immediately. Then came the ultimate humiliation. A woman from my past, my old friend Kareem, entered the salon. His eyes locked on me, widening in shock. "Wait, is that you?" I froze. My chest tightened. My mouth opened, but no words came. Lila stepped forward, brushing her hand along my arm possessively. "Ignore him," she whispered. "He doesn't matter. You are her now." I forced a smile, high-pitched and delicate. Kareem's confusion deepened. "You all look different. Really different." The heat in my cheeks burned brighter than ever. I wanted to vanish, but Lila's grip was iron. "Smile," she commanded. And I did. My voice, my posture, my gestures, everything screamed feminine perfection. By the time we left, I was exhausted, humiliated, and strangely exhilarated. My old self felt like a shadow slipping further into darkness. I hated it. I feared it. And yet, a small, dangerous part of me thrilled at the attention, at the acknowledgement, at being called beautiful. Back at the apartment, Lila helped me out of the dress, inspecting me as if she owned every inch of me. "Tomorrow," she whispered, "we cross the final line. You will be adored.
Desired.
And you may enjoy it." The words made my stomach churn. Enjoy it? How could I possibly enjoy this? Yet, as I stared into the mirror, my reflection no longer seemed entirely wrong. My lips, my eyes, my posture, they whispered a truth I wasn't ready to accept. I didn't want to admit it, but somewhere, buried deep, a part of me was already lost. She didn't just want to change how I looked, she wanted to own who I was, piece by piece. The apartment felt smaller today, almost suffocating. I hadn't realized how much of myself I had already surrendered to Lila's control. The way I walked, spoke, even breathed had been reshaped by her hands, her eyes, her instructions. And yet, today she promised something different. "You've done well in public," she said, circling me like a predator studying prey. "But that's only the beginning. Real change happens in private, when no one is watching, when your defenses are weakest." My stomach tightened. I don't know if I can. She cut me off with a soft finger against my lips. "Stop.
You can and you will.
And you will thank me when it's done." The first lesson was posture. She made me sit on the edge of the couch, legs crossed perfectly, shoulders back, chin lifted. Every motion was scrutinized. My muscles ached from holding myself the way she wanted, yet she wasn't satisfied. "You're tense. Relax. Loosen. This is a body you must love, not hate." Love? The word made me want to laugh or cry. My body didn't feel like mine anymore. It felt borrowed, fragile, designed for someone else. Next came the voice. Lila had me read aloud, over and over, correcting the pitch, the tone, the softness, the subtle rise and fall of sentences. My old voice cracked under her scrutiny. Every misstep was met with a sharp glance, a soft sigh, a word that cut deeper than any scolding. "You're not speaking as a boy," she said finally, circling me. "You're speaking as a woman. And you will believe it." I swallowed hard, my throat tight. The words tasted strange, foreign, and yet I obeyed. Then she introduced a mirror exercise, my personal nightmare. She made me strip down, only partially, and stand before the full-length mirror. "Look at yourself. Every inch, Every curve, every softness. Do you see her? You will see her every day until you believe she is real. I wanted to turn away, to cover myself, but she was relentless. Her hand gripped my shoulder, steady, commanding. Feel her. Know her. She is you now. Tears burned my eyes. Shame, anger, fear, they all collided in a storm. I hated this. I hated her. I hated myself for obeying. And yet, when she whispered, "You're beautiful," my chest twisted in ways I couldn't explain. The final part of the session was clothing and movement. She dressed me in a delicate lace bodysuit, a skirt that flared just above my knees, stockings that kissed my thighs, and heels that felt like small instruments of torture. Each step, each turn, each gesture was corrected. "You will walk for me," she said, eyes gleaming.
Slow.
Graceful. Controlled. And if you stumble, you will start again. Until perfection. My legs shook.
My feet bled.
My mind screamed to quit. But she was there, guiding, correcting, manipulating. Every word, every touch, every glance chipped away at my old self. By the end, I was exhausted. My body ached, my pride shattered, my mind a whirlpool of confusion. And yet, I couldn't stop staring at the reflection. The girl staring back was undeniably me, yet undeniably not. She leaned close, brushing her lips against my ear. Tomorrow, we take her to the next level. Social acceptance, admiration, and desire. You may not like it, but you will survive. And maybe, just maybe, you'll crave it. The words left a bittersweet taste in my mouth. I didn't want to crave it. I didn't want to survive. And yet, deep inside, a small, forbidden part of me wondered, what if I already did? Every smile I forced, every laugh I faked, blurred the line between who I was and who she wanted me to be. The next morning, sunlight spilled into the apartment, but it brought no relief. My body was still sore from yesterday's private lessons, and my mind was a tangled mess of humiliation, confusion, and something else I didn't dare name. Lila was ready. "Today, we meet others," she said casually, though the sparkle in her eyes was anything but casual. "You will interact, charm, and obey. And yes, you may be noticed." I froze. Interact? Charm? Obey? My chest tightened. But her presence alone was enough to make me nod. I had learned already that resistance was exhausting and ultimately futile. She dressed me in a soft pink dress that flared at the waist, paired with elegant heels and a cardigan that made me look almost fragile. My hair was curled perfectly, lips painted lightly, eyes accentuated with subtle liner. The reflection in the mirror no longer shocked me. It fascinated me. And terrified me. The others were a small gathering of her friends at a nearby cafe. Lila guided me like a marionette, hands lightly on my back, posture corrected at every step. My legs shook, my voice trembled, but I obeyed. "Smile," she whispered. "Laugh when appropriate. Speak softly but confidently. You are her now." The moment we entered, I felt every gaze on me. Whispers rippled around the table. I recognized some faces from college, people I hadn't spoken to in months. Their eyes lingered on my legs, my hair, my makeup. Every glance stabbed at my pride, but a strange heat spread through my chest. Lila introduced me, her hand brushing mine gently. "This is my model," she said with a smile that was both proud and cruel. "She's learning how to be perfect." Perfect. The word echoed in my mind. I hated it. I feared it. And yet, I wanted to live up to it. Conversation began. I struggled at first, mispronouncing words, misplacing gestures, my laughter too high-pitched, my hands trembling. Lila corrected me subtly, a touch here, a smile there, forcing me to obey without openly humiliating me. But the effect was worse than scolding. It made me feel exposed, pliable, and painfully aware of every inch of myself. Then, one of her friends, a boy named Amir, smiled at me. "You look really nice," he said softly. Heat rushed to my cheeks. My heart skipped. The compliment, innocent as it was, made me feel something I couldn't identify: shame, embarrassment, desire, all tangled into one. Lila leaned close, whispering, "Do you feel it? The attention? The admiration? That's power. And fear. Learn both." Throughout the gathering, I forced smiles, laughter, small gestures of charm. I noticed subtle glances, lingering looks, unspoken curiosity from strangers. My body responded in ways that frightened me. Every correction from Lila's hand or glance shaped me further into someone I barely recognized. By the time we left, my legs ached, my voice was hoarse, and my mind was a storm of conflicting emotions. I hated the attention. I craved it. I wanted to be invisible. I wanted to be noticed. Back at the apartment, Lila removed my dress slowly, inspecting every inch of me. "Tomorrow," she whispered, "we push boundaries further. More attention, more desire, and maybe someone will fall for her. Will you survive it?" I stared into the mirror, my reflection trembling with me. I didn't want to survive it. I didn't want to desire it. But a small, dangerous part of me already did. Every glance, every whisper, every tiny smile was a trap I couldn't escape, and part of me didn't want to. The city streets were alive with noise, sunlight bouncing off shop windows, people moving in endless streams. But all I could feel was the weight of the outfit Lila had chosen, a fitted lavender dress that hugged my curves, sheer stockings that made every step a careful negotiation, and heels that made my legs ache before I even left the apartment. Lila's eyes swept over me like a predator. "You are perfect," she said, her voice soft but commanding. "The world will see her today. And someone may want her." I shivered. Not from the cold, but from a confusing mix of fear, humiliation, and an emotion I refused to name. Lila didn't wait for me to argue. She guided me out into the streets, correcting my posture, smoothing my hair, adjusting my voice. Every motion, every word, every glance was choreographed to perfection. We entered a busy park, full of students, families, strangers. All eyes seemed to fall on me. Some stared openly, some whispered. My face burned. My chest tightened. I wanted to vanish. And yet, a small, impossible part of me thrilled at the attention. "Smile," Lila whispered, lightly touching my arm. "They are looking. They admire. Let them." A boy sitting on a nearby bench caught my gaze. Dark hair, warm eyes, a casual smirk. He smiled when he noticed me, and my stomach lurched. I tried to look away, but Lila's grip held me firm. "You see him," she whispered. "Notice. But do not falter. You are hers, not yours." I forced a smile, delicate and practiced, and my heart beat like a drum in my chest. The boy's eyes lingered. A subtle spark passed between us, innocent enough for the world, but dangerous enough to twist something inside me. A group of girls walking past whispered, nudging each other as they looked at me. "Wow, she's stunning," one said. I felt a mix of pride and shame so strong it left me dizzy. Lila's fingers brushed mine. "Good," she murmured. "Let their envy and desire shape you." By mid-afternoon, Lila had orchestrated interactions with strangers, compliments, and subtle teasing. Every reaction, every small comment chipped away at my old identity. I felt eyes on me constantly, measuring, admiring, desiring. My mind twisted with shame, pleasure, and fear. At one point, the boy, Amir, I learned his name, approached, nervous but curious. "Hi, you look really nice," he said, voice catching slightly. My cheeks flamed. Words stumbled out, high and soft. I corrected myself mid-sentence under Lila's watchful eyes. Thank you," I whispered, voice trembling. My heart raced. Lila smiled behind me, almost cruelly. "Notice how he looks at her. That's power. And it's intoxicating. Learn it. Feel it. Obey it." Every step back to the apartment was agony. My legs ached. My chest felt tight. My mind a storm of conflicting emotions. I hated the attention, yet craved it. I feared desire, yet thrilled at it. When we returned, Lila removed my outfit slowly, inspecting every inch of me. Tomorrow, she said softly, we push further. Public admiration, private lessons, and the moment you realize she may be more desirable than the boy you were. I stared into the mirror. The girl staring back at me was undeniably beautiful, undeniably feminine, and undeniably a threat to the identity I thought was mine. A shiver ran down my spine. I didn't want this. I didn't want to feel this. And yet, part of me already did. Every whispered command, every lingering glance, every forced smile made me question who I really was. The morning sun crept through the blinds, but I barely noticed it. My body ached from yesterday's trials, my heels still sore from walking in them for hours. My mind was a storm of confusion, humiliation, and an alien thrill that I refused to name. Lila was already awake, poised like a predator ready to strike. Today, she said, voice soft but commanding, we push further. Social grace, charm, desire, and control. I felt a shiver crawl up my spine. I don't know if I can. She interrupted me with a finger against my lips. Stop. You can. You will. And you will thank me when it's done. The outfit she laid out was exquisite, a pastel cocktail dress that clung to my curves, sheer stockings that highlighted my legs, and heels that felt like torture devices. My hair was curled perfectly, makeup flawless. I barely recognized myself in the mirror. The girl staring back seemed alive, confident, seductive, someone I wasn't. The first trial was a social luncheon she had arranged at an upscale cafe. The room buzzed with conversation, eyes subtly observing. Lila guided me like a marionette, correcting my posture, my hands, my voice. Every gesture, every glance was scrutinized. Smile, she whispered. Laugh softly. Speak with grace. You are hers. Obey. A group of college students nearby stared, whispering. I felt my cheeks burn, my chest tighten. Every word, every movement felt exaggerated, yet I obeyed. I laughed when prompted, smiled when observed, and even held conversations with strangers, correcting myself under Lila's subtle guidance. Then came Amir, the boy from the park yesterday. He smiled as he approached. Hi, you're stunning, he said softly. My heart lurched. I wanted to hide, yet Lila's hand on my back forced me upright. Thank you, I whispered, voice trembling. His gaze lingered, and a thrill, both terrifying and intoxicating, spread through me. Lila whispered, almost cruelly, feel it. That's power.
Desire. Control.
You are learning. After lunch, she guided me to a boutique filled with mirrors. I was forced to pose, walk, and smile at my own reflection while she circled me, hands occasionally brushing my shoulder, correcting my posture, coaxing perfection. Each step, each glance chipped away at my old self, leaving someone else behind. The final test was subtle, yet devastating. She introduced a casual flirtation with Amir under her supervision. A touch on the arm, a smile held just a second too long, a shy laugh. Each small act left me breathless, my identity crumbling further. Lila's eyes gleamed as she whispered, notice it. You are her now. You may resist, but your body does not lie. By the time we returned home, I was exhausted, sore, and emotionally raw. My reflection stared back at me, flawless, delicate, undeniably feminine. I hated her. I hated this. And yet a small, dangerous part of me craved it. Lila's voice cut through my thoughts. Tomorrow, we introduce the ultimate exposure. A gathering where everyone will see her, admire her, desire her. And you will have no choice but to survive it and perhaps enjoy it. I wanted to scream. I wanted to flee. And yet, somewhere deep, my body whispered a secret I dared not acknowledge. Maybe I already did. All eyes were on me, and somewhere deep, I realized I couldn't hide anymore. The morning air felt heavier than usual. My body ached from heels, my muscles screamed from posture practice, and my mind spun in a haze of humiliation, excitement, and fear. Today, Lila had planned something far bigger than any previous trial, a high-profile gathering at a chic rooftop cafe, full of strangers, admirers, and inevitably, people who would notice me in ways I wasn't ready to handle. Lila entered my room, a vision of authority and beauty. "Dress," she commanded softly. The outfit she chose was daring, a fitted emerald dress that hugged every curve, sheer stockings, and stilettos that felt like torture from the first step. My hair was curled to perfection, makeup flawless, lips painted with a bold red that made me look older, more confident, and terrifyingly feminine. "You are not the boy you were," she said, circling me, inspecting every detail. "You are her. And tonight, everyone will see her." I swallowed hard, the weight of the heels making every movement conscious, deliberate. My reflection in the mirror was almost unrecognizable. The girl staring back wasn't just beautiful, she radiated something dangerous, something that I didn't yet understand. The cab ride to the rooftop was silent except for Lila's soft instructions: posture, voice, gestures. Eyes forward. Smile. Confidence. Every glance must command attention, even if you feel terror inside. When we arrived, the crowd's murmurs hit me like a physical force. People turned, whispers spread, and I felt every pair of eyes like a spotlight burning into my skin. My heart pounded, my cheeks flushed, and my legs trembled. "Smile," Lila whispered. "Walk. Own it." I stepped forward, carefully, every movement corrected by her subtle touches and whispered commands. Compliments came fast, some innocent, some daring. Every word, every gaze shredded my old self a little more. Then Amir appeared, his eyes wide with surprise and awe. Wow, you look incredible," he said, voice catching. My chest tightened, a strange mixture of pride and shame flooding me. I forced a smile, high and soft, feeling Lila's gaze on me like a tether. Thank you," I whispered, my voice trembling. She leaned close, brushing a finger along my arm. "See? They desire her. And you feel it. That's the lesson. Embrace it." I wanted to hide. I wanted to run. But the thrill, the dangerous, intoxicating thrill, coursed through me despite myself. My old identity felt like a shadow, faint and distant, replaced by this new, fragile, beautiful figure under everyone's gaze. Lila guided me through conversations, drinks, and subtle flirtations. Every laugh, every glance, every word was a lesson in control and desire. The line between humiliation and empowerment blurred. I hated that I felt exhilaration. I hated that part of me wanted to be admired, noticed, desired. By the time we left, I was emotionally raw, physically drained, and mentally fragmented. My reflection in the cab's window stared back, flawless, delicate, undeniably feminine. I didn't recognize myself, and yet a small, forbidden part of me reveled in it. Lila's voice whispered in my ear as she held my hand. "Tomorrow, we push further. Private lessons, new admiration, and perhaps the moment you realize she is not just beautiful but powerful. Will you survive it? That depends on you." I shivered. I wanted to scream, to flee, to resist. And yet, somewhere deep, I feared I no longer could. In the quiet of her room, without anyone watching, I finally realized I was no longer in control. The apartment felt almost sacred in the evening light, quiet except for the soft hum of the city outside. My body was still aching from the previous day's public exposure, but the real weight pressed on my mind. Today, Lila promised, was a private lesson, one that would go far beyond posture, makeup, or heels. "You've learned to be seen," she said softly, circling me like a predator savoring the hunt. "Now, you must learn to be desired and to desire yourself as she does." I froze. Desire? The word made my chest twist, a shiver crawling down my spine. My voice caught. I don't know if I can." Her hand rose to my chin, tilting my face so I met her eyes. "Stop. You can. You will. And every part of you will obey." She guided me to the mirror, full length this time, and made me strip slowly, examining me under the soft glow of the lamp. "Look," she whispered, her voice both tender and commanding. "Every curve, every softness. She is beautiful, and you will learn to love her. My reflection was undeniable. The girl staring back was delicate, perfect, vulnerable, and undeniably feminine. I wanted to turn away, but her fingers pressed gently to my shoulders, guiding me to embrace the reflection. Touch her, she commanded. Feel her skin. Know her. I shivered violently, but obeyed. Every brush of my fingers along my own body sent a shock through me. Shame, embarrassment, and a strange, illicit thrill tangled inside me. I hated that it felt good. I hated that I craved it. Then came the voice lesson, but far more intimate this time. Lila had me whisper phrases, soft, seductive, practiced, each syllable echoing in the room. You are beautiful. You are hers. You are desired. I stumbled over my own words, cheeks burning. Yet each correction, each whispered command, each guiding touch from her taught me something terrifying. Obedience could feel intoxicating. Finally, she dressed me in a delicate lingerie set beneath a flowing robe, instructing me to practice movements, gestures, and glances that were subtle yet loaded with feminine allure. Each sway, each tilt of my head, each delicate step in heels reinforced the girl in the mirror. The boy I once was felt distant, like a faint memory, slipping further away. Tomorrow, she whispered, brushing a stray curl behind my ear, you will be admired in private. Someone will see her, desire her. And you will survive it. Maybe even enjoy it. I shivered at her words. I wanted to scream, to run, to reject this new self. And yet, deep inside, a part of me quivered with a dark, forbidden thrill. I wasn't ready to admit it, but maybe, just maybe, I had already begun to enjoy it. Alone with him, alone with her, alone with myself, I realized I was disappearing piece by piece. The room was quiet, lit only by the soft glow of the evening lamp. My body still trembled from yesterday's lessons, heels abandoned on the floor, stockings clinging to my legs like a second skin. But today, Lila had something new in mind, a private encounter designed to test my emotional control, my obedience, and my fragile grip on my former identity. You've learned to be admired, she said softly, circling me like a predator savoring her prey. Now, you must learn to feel it from someone else. Someone who desires her. My stomach twisted.
Desire.
Admiration. I was terrified. My lips trembled. I don't know if I... She silenced me with a finger against my lips, tilting my face to meet her eyes. Stop. You will learn. And you will survive. Perhaps even enjoy it. Amir, the boy from the park and the cafe, was waiting discreetly in the room. His eyes widened as they landed on me, taking in the curves, the soft hair, the delicate makeup, the subtle allure Lila had sculpted into every gesture. You look incredible, he stammered, voice trembling slightly. Heat surged through me, and I felt a strange, alien pull in my chest. My body betrayed me, responding to admiration and desire I had never known I could feel. Lila's eyes gleamed as she whispered, "Notice how he looks at her. That is power. And you feel it." She guided me step by step, making me approach him, speak softly, hold eye contact, and maintain the poise she had drilled into me. Each word, each glance, each subtle touch was electrifying. My heart raced. My cheeks burned. My mind screamed in resistance even as my body obeyed. Amir reached out, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. "You're beautiful," he murmured. I shivered violently, wanting to hide, to run, to reject it. But Lila's hand on my shoulder kept me steady, her whisper commanding obedience. "Feel it.
You are hers now."
She is you. You cannot escape it." Every inch of me was exposed, not just physically, but emotionally. The boy I had been was fading, slipping behind the mask of this girl Lila had shaped. I hated it. I feared it. And yet, somewhere, deep and dark, a part of me thrilled at the sensation of being admired, desired, and controlled. Hours passed in a tense, intoxicating mixture of whispered guidance, soft touches, and careful gestures. By the end, I was exhausted, trembling, and emotionally raw. My reflection in the mirror, flawless, delicate, undeniably feminine, stared back at me. I no longer recognized the boy who had entered this room. Lila leaned close, her lips brushing my ear. Tomorrow, the final lesson. Public desire, private control, and the moment you realize she is stronger, more desirable, more complete than he ever was. Will you survive it? I shivered, torn between fear and forbidden thrill. I wanted to scream. I wanted to flee. And yet, part of me feared I no longer could. All eyes were on me, and I realized I had no choice left but to be her. The day dawned bright and unforgiving, sunlight streaming through the blinds and illuminating every detail of the apartment I no longer recognized as mine. My body ached from heels, posture practice, and yesterday's private lessons, but my mind felt far heavier. The weight of anticipation, humiliation, and an unfamiliar thrill pressed down on me like a physical force. Lila entered, radiant and commanding as ever. "Today," she said softly, circling me, "we test her.
Publicly.
Fully. There will be eyes, whispers, admiration, and desire. You will not hide. You will not falter. You will survive, and perhaps enjoy it." My stomach twisted, panic and fear coursing through me. I don't know if I can." "Stop," she interrupted, her finger against my lips, tilting my face. "You will. And you must." The outfit she had chosen was breathtaking, a crimson cocktail dress that clung to my curves, sheer stockings, and impossibly high heels. My hair was curled to perfection, lips painted boldly, and eyes highlighted to dazzle anyone who dared look at me. My reflection in the mirror was almost unrecognizable. The girl staring back was delicate, flawless, seductive, someone I had never met. The cab ride to the event was silent except for Lila's whispered instructions. Posture, voice, gestures. Every movement counts. Every glance commands. Every smile entices. You are hers. Obey. When we arrived, the venue buzzed with murmurs and laughter. It was a high-profile social gathering, filled with strangers, acquaintances, and admirers, all eager to see her. My chest tightened. My legs trembled. My heart pounded in my ears. "Smile," Lila whispered, lightly pressing my shoulder. "Walk. Own it. Every eye will see her." I stepped forward, each movement guided, corrected, refined. Compliments came fast, innocent and daring alike. Every word, every gaze, shredded my old self a little more, leaving the girl Lila had sculpted in its place. Then Amir appeared, eyes wide, awe and desire mingling in his gaze. You look incredible," he stammered. Heat surged through me, a dangerous thrill intertwining with shame and panic. I forced a high, soft smile, trembling under his gaze. Lila's whisper was soft but commanding. "Notice how he sees her. That is power. And you feel it." The crowd's attention intensified. Whispers, glances, and subtle flirtations surrounded me. I obeyed every correction, every nudge, every gentle command from Lila. Each word, each touch, each look chipped away at the boy I had been. By the end of the evening, I was emotionally raw, physically exhausted, and mentally shattered. My reflection in a nearby mirrored wall caught my gaze, flawless, delicate, undeniably feminine. The boy I had been seemed like a ghost, fading into memory. Lila leaned close, brushing a curl behind my ear. "Tomorrow, the final lesson. Private, intimate, and irreversible. You will realize she is not just beautiful, she is complete. Will you accept it?" I shivered, torn between terror and an unfamiliar, forbidden thrill. I wanted to run. I wanted to resist. But somewhere deep, I feared I no longer could. Alone in her room, I realized there was no going back, and part of me didn't want to. The apartment was silent, bathed in the soft glow of evening light. My body ached from heels, posture lessons, and constant corrections, but the weight pressing down on my mind was heavier. Today, Lila promised, would be the final step, the private, intimate, and irreversible transformation that would seal my fate. "You've learned to be seen," she said softly, circling me like a predator savoring the hunt. "You've learned to be admired. Now you must become her completely. No half measures. No hesitation. Every part of you must obey." I swallowed hard. I don't know if I can." Her finger pressed gently to my lips. "Stop. You will. You have no choice left. And soon you may thank me." She guided me to the mirror, where my reflection stared back, flawless, delicate, undeniably feminine. My hair curled perfectly, makeup accentuating every feature, my body shaped and refined by her guidance. The girl in the reflection was not a disguise. It was becoming my reality. "Touch her," Lila whispered. "Know every curve. Feel every softness. She is beautiful, and you will become her." I hesitated, fear twisting my stomach. My hands trembled as I traced my own skin, my fingers brushing over delicate curves that were no longer mine. Or maybe they were. Shame, humiliation, and a strange thrill collided within me. I hated it. I feared it. And yet, a small, forbidden part of me shivered in response. She guided me through the final steps. Posture and movement. Every sway, tilt, and step reinforced my feminine identity. A voice and speech. Soft, melodic tones replaced the rough edges of my old voice. A grooming and appearance. Every detail meticulously perfected. Hair, nails, makeup, attire. Private desires. I was made to explore the admiration and attraction I had felt, to recognize the thrill of being desired, and to reconcile it with the shame I still carried. Hours passed in a haze of whispered instructions, gentle touches, and emotionally charged guidance. My old self felt distant, like a memory fading into mist. Every correction from Lila, every glance she gave, every soft word whispered in my ear chipped away at my resistance. Finally, she stepped back, observing me fully. "Look at her," she said softly. "You are not a boy. You are not hiding. You are her. And you are complete." I stared into the mirror, trembling. The girl staring back was breathtaking, delicate, flawless. I barely recognized the boy who had started this journey, the shy, hesitant, emotionally lost young man who had walked into her control weeks ago. "Tomorrow," Lila whispered, brushing a curl behind my ear, "you step into the world fully. Public, private, it doesn't matter.
You are hers now.
Will you accept it?" I shivered, caught between terror and a forbidden, thrilling desire. I wanted to run. I wanted to resist. And yet, part of me realized I no longer could. And another part wanted to stay. All eyes were on me, but for the first time I didn't want to hide. I just didn't know who I was anymore. The morning light spilled through the blinds, warm but unfamiliar. I rose from the bed, still trembling from yesterday's final transformation. The mirror no longer reflected a disguise or a temporary role. It reflected her. Delicate, flawless, undeniably feminine. Every detail, hair, makeup, posture, curves, was perfect. And it all felt permanent. Lila appeared beside me, radiant as ever, her eyes gleaming with both triumph and something softer. "Today," she whispered, "you face the world. Fully. You're hers now. Every glance, every word, every gesture will belong to her. And perhaps you will discover she is stronger than he ever was." I swallowed hard, heart pounding. Panic warred with an intoxicating thrill that I could no longer suppress. The boy I had been seemed like a distant echo, replaced by this new, fragile, beautiful persona. Public integration. We stepped into the bustling city streets, heels clicking sharply against the pavement. Heads turned. Whispers followed. People looked, smiled, admired. I moved with careful precision, guided subtly by Lila's touch and whispered instructions. Each compliment, each lingering glance, tore away the last remnants of my old identity. Amir approached again, awe and desire in his eyes. "You're incredible," he murmured. My chest tightened, face flushing. I forced a delicate smile, voice soft and melodic.
Part of me wanted to flee.
Part of me wanted this attention. Lila's soft whisper at my ear reminded me, feel it, desire it.
She is stronger now.
You are hers. Emotional resolution. By mid-afternoon, I had walked through crowded malls, parks, and cafes, facing admiration, subtle flirtation, and even open envy. Every interaction reinforced the truth. The boy I was no longer mattered. My identity had been reshaped, molded, perfected. The shame, the fear, the thrill, they all existed together, creating something new and terrifyingly real. Lila guided me back to the apartment, smiling softly. Tomorrow, she said, you step fully into your life as her. Publicly.
Privately.
You may run if you want, but you won't. I stared at my reflection one last time that evening. The girl staring back was undeniably beautiful, vulnerable, seductive, powerful in ways I couldn't yet name. The boy I had been vanished, and a strange, forbidden part of me felt relief. Bittersweet closure. I didn't scream. I didn't fight. I had survived, obeyed, and learned. And somewhere deep, I realized I wanted to survive as her. The old me was gone. In its place stood a new identity, fragile yet intoxicating. Lila's control had not just forced me, it had guided me to a truth I had been too afraid to see. I stepped out into the night, heels clicking confidently, posture flawless, heart racing. The world would see her, desire her, admire her. And I accepted it. But in the quiet corners of my mind, a whisper remained. Will he ever return? Or is she permanent? The story ended not with a scream or a rebellion, but with quiet, thrilling acceptance. I had been transformed, reshaped, and irrevocably altered. And in that final moment, I realized something terrifyingly simple. I didn't want to go back.